Today we wrap up our Halfway to Halloween triple feature with Kenny Ortega's 1993 Race Against Time, Dark Magic, and the dulcet, if not disorienting tones of Bette Midler. The cauldrons are bubbling, the immortal black cats are talking, and children casually walk to their collective doom. Also, a few witches can wind back 300 years of aging as we light the black flame candle, wear our V-cards with pride, and find some safety on hallowed ground before meeting the savage but surprisingly self-conscious, soul-sucking Sanderson Sisters of Salem in Hocus Pocus.
You're listening to How I Met Your Monster, a podcast that explores the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. My name's Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And together we dive into the world of horror to find out how filmmakers have introduced us to our favorite monsters time and time again. This is How I Met Your Monster.
You opened it. We came.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left.
Who are you? Explorers in further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
Call you Meatloaf! Surprise, Sydney.
Come on, don't be chicken shit.
Welcome to How I Met Your Monster, the show where we discuss the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. Today, we are wrapping up our Halfway to Halloween triple feature series with a 1993 classic directed by Kenny Ortega and written by Mick Garris. It's Hocus Pocus, you guys.
Hocus Pocus Jocus Wild, come take a spin on my pie.
What is that? Oh.
Bam! Shaggy leg a locust, Shaggy the clown back like scoliosis. It's ICP.
Oh, God.
Casey.
We're back on the Juggalos again.
I'm not
I
proud
forgot
of
Casey.
it. Oh, I know all the
Casey
words
was
to
a
that
Juggalo.
song. No, I wasn't. I know like 3 songs.
My cousin used to listen to them, and he's like, you got to hear these. You got to hear like ICP and
So what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Insane Clown Posse?
Yeah.
Don't act like you don't know, Danny.
No, but it's funny because I've seen pictures of them, but I've never heard their music. At least I don't think I've heard their music.
Well, they have a song called Hocus Pocus. Listen to it after we're done.
Oh, you better believe I'm going to add that to a social media
Homework.
post. That's going to be on Instagram. We're going to have a whole love letter to the ICP.
It's funny because they do full face black and white makeup like I did for Art the Clown last week.
Oh yeah. See, I knew it. You got a
You're
little
part of the
Juggalo in
posse.
you. After
Yeah,
all.
that's why I have the makeup. Yeah.
You have a little Juggalo in you.
I don't think I ever have, actually.
Not that you know of.
Oh.
Not that I know of. Closet juggalos, probably.
Yeah. But today we're not talking about Juggalos or ICP. We're talking about Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker in Hocus Pocus. And the lady from Sister Act in Hocus
Kathy
Pocus.
Najimy, you respect her.
Yeah, Kathy
The
and Jimmy, first of all.
MVP of this movie. You respect
Second
her.
of all, she is in one of my favorite childhood movies called In Search of Dr. Seuss. Okay.
Oh.
And I did watch
Okay.
it after I watched Hocus Pocus.
Aw.
Oh, nice.
Why have I never
Nice.
heard of this?
I don't think anybody has.
I do apologize that I did not know her name. I've heard of it, Casey, and the only reason I've heard of it is because of you.
Because of me.
Yeah.
So it's about like she's a reporter and she like goes to Dr. Seuss's house to try and like learn things about him. And so it's like then she ends up like going through some of the books. And so like the it turns into like cartoon, like it shows the Sneetches cartoon and like the Lorax cartoon and stuff like that. And she talks to the Cat in the Hat the whole time, and you learn about like Dr. Seuss's background and his like political cartoons and how he got his start and all that kind of shit.
Okay.
Very cool, guys. Very cool. You can watch it on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, since this is the last feature of our Halfway to Halloween triple feature, we had to dress up. I mean, of course, because
Halloween.
it's Halloween. Casey dressed up last episode for Terrifier as Art the Clown. And so we knew we all had to dress up this episode. But no, today we are the Sanderson Sisters.
Yes, we are.
I am Sarah Sanderson. Danny.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sarah Sanderson.
I'm the horny one.
Zach,
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
that is exactly what I wanted from you.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna toot my own horn here.
You're feeling yourself. You're like looking at yourself.
I am.
I wasn't like
Yeah.
imagining the.
I don't mind it. I kind of like it.
I wasn't picturing the
It's nice.
beard when I was imagining you in the wig. So like the stark
I
contrast
was.
of the dark
That's
hair.
why I wanted him to wear that.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I feel like I just like dyed my hair, or I'm like a surfer, and it's such like beach blonde or
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
I'm Winifred Sanderson. What would she be? She's the leader, but she's the cranky one,
She's the leader. Yeah, she's pretty cranky.
the pompous one,
She's yeah.
the
And
over
Casey, who are you?
one.
I'm Mary Sanderson. I'm the one that likes to smell children.
Yeah, this movie is very
I
odd.
love sniffing kids.
And barking.
when it comes.
I love it. I can tell how old they are.
I mean, I guess that's a bonus. I guess that's a good. If you're gonna be
Gotta
sniffing,
make sure that gotta smell them to make sure they're virgins.
if you're sniffing kids, it's probably good to know how old they are. That's
I really do share that with her. I don't smell children, but I have a very good nose.
like a dog.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to
Okay.
have buck teeth as a child.
Used to?
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
And I used to be really horny before I turned 37. So
Before you turn 37?
so there we go.
We're all,
Oh,
we're all
guys,
really,
really?
you know?
The horniness factor has toned way down.
Well, it's
Would have
probably
thought
because you
this
have a
movie would
family.
brought out our true selves.
I feel like families make you less horny.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit to do, you know.
Yeah. Can I come smell your children?
No.
It's like
No.
the bit's over. No.
No.
It just hit me now that, like, of course we're dressing up. It's our Halloween season. It, like, just phased
Well,
me.
yeah.
Like, Casey dressed up last.
Yeah.
Of course, we did technically dress up as the characters in Flatliners because they don't dress up as anything.
Yeah. I like, oh my God. I love, like, I've come to terms with the fact that I picked Flatliners. I absolutely love our Flatliners episode.
too.
I think it was really, really good.
too.
But like watching Terrifier and then watching this, I was like, oh fuck. Like, why didn't we have like
Halloween.
one more movie that was like Halloween?
I still stand
Well,
by
this-
it.
that's
I
like
think
the
it
whole
was-
theme.
I liked it.
I mean,
because we have like
yeah.
so many flavors. You know, you have like the adult. That's like
Yeah.
an adult Halloween movie. You know, it's like we're not gonna. What are we
That's
gonna?
true.
The whole movie's gonna be Halloween. We're adults. You get a 10-minute scene that
We're
vaguely
adults.
references the
Yep.
holiday, and that's it.
Yep.
And then we get the gory horror with Terrifier, and then we have like a bona fide banger with Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, from Sarah's perspective.
She was horny throughout that whole fucking movie.
She was, yeah. Horny for children.
Yeah, that was
What
weird.
is this, the
A little weird.
Innocents?
I know. And you know what? I was thinking during the whole movie, I'm like, man, can you imagine if those were three warlocks? Children.
Oh yeah,
We
it'd be
need
a
children.
totally different. Yeah.
Well, what was the movie? Was it?
It'd
be a totally different story.
No, not Something Wicked This Way Comes. What's the movie with the guy in the traveling carriage that picks up the kids?
It is something like
It's
this.
like from this. Is it from like the 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
I just remember that scene vividly.
Yeah.
I remember really
He
creeping me
grants
out.
wishes and stuff.
Ugh. That's the male equivalent.
This movie actually made me wish that it was Halloween.
Oh, same. I was like, I can't
Yeah.
watch this unless it feels like Halloween. So I have some old Halloween candles. So I lit those, got the aromas going, got the lighting set up,
Nice.
feeling very spooky. And I was, for but a moment, under the impression that, is it October?
It made me start thinking about what I'm going to paint on my pumpkins this year.
Oh yeah.
Is that a euphemism?
No, Danny, I paint pumpkins every year.
What are you gonna paint on your pumpkins this year? That's funny.
I might actually do Pumpkinhead.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
That would be cool.
And maybe the original
be cool.
Dracula.
That's great.
Oh, nice.
My face looks totally different without hair, and I don't like it.
You don't like it? Oh, I think it's a great look for you.
No.
I'm glad
My
that
face looks fucking fat.
I'm glad you did marry because oh no, I don't see that at all. Are you kidding? Do you see me right now? Do you see how ridiculous I look?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
this
you
is
look
the least
ridiculous, but you don't
Guys, do you
fat.
see how cool I look right
I mean,
now?
you do.
Zach's like, I can't relate. Sorry.
I don't get it.
No, I think you look really good with purple. Like seeing you in purple. I don't know if I've ever seen you in
I
purple.
had purple hair.
Did you? While we've had the podcast?
I did. I had no.
Oh,
This was
okay.
years ago. So I had purple hair and blue hair, and I would go like back and forth between the two.
I like it.
But then I really just got sick. I got sick of bleaching my roots and then having to dye them. So I basically just let them kind of grow out, and I was dyeing them black, and then eventually it all just became black.
I like it. Well, I think your hair always looks good, but purple's cool.
Thanks. I know. I wish I could do it again, but it's too much of a process. I've thought about like bleaching my bangs and my money pieces, which are the front like.
That's
Your
cute.
money pieces?
That's what they're called. That's what they're called.
Oh, okay.
And doing those purple. I might do it. I don't know.
Money shot catchers.
Excuse me?
Sorry.
Excuse me?
These are my money shot catchers.
Zach, you've got quite the money shot catchers right now.
Yeah,
Very
I do.
long.
Yeah, I just go like this, and it's like conditioner. It's like conditioner.
They call those
I go
crusty
like
tips.
this. Actually. Oh, wait.
Well,
I
there
can,
you go, right there, right
I
there.
can bend this. Look. I'm a unicorn.
Yeah, I think you are the. Mary's wig is
gonna-
made for pegging.
I'm going to be back. I'm going to stay back here the whole time.
I love it.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
I feel like Kevin Nealon
Okay.
from Little Nicky with this wig.
To Ed. Go with
Yeah.
my father. I had a dream. So this is actually really funny. I had a dream that I was in Erie with Danny.
Oh,
And
interesting.
Danny wanted to do a photo shoot, which is funny because Zach, you're from Erie, and we used to take pictures. Danny, not.
Danny's not.
And I was trying to figure out which Walmart to meet him at, and the only thing in my closet was silver, like skirts and silver, like glittery dresses and stuff. And so I brought a bunch of them to change into for the photo shoot.
When I was a kid, I used to love dressing secretly. I would obviously no one would ever know, but my sister had this very sparkly ballet like dress thing, like not a tutu, whatever the saggy equivalent of a tutu is. And I would
The
dress up in
saggy
it.
equivalent.
I loved it.
Wait, Danny,
Yeah.
are you gay?
There have been rumors. I haven't been.
There are signs.
I haven't been turning any of them down. I am married to a man,
Interesting.
but you know who needs
is
labels
happening
these
here?
days?
Who does need labels here these days?
Um,
Look at you looking at yourself.
I see the appeal now. You guys, am I changing?
You're going to be in a safer space to make any sort of
It's
life
true.
transition. Zach's going to be like so into wigs now, and I kind of love it. I kind of want this to happen. That's also like subversive.
Gosh.
It's like a straight man who's just like owning this, like, you know, very kind of classically feminine, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Would wearing wigs be a pastime? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
actually
I guess.
wear wigs. You just for an hour, you just put them on, you brush them, and then you're done. It's your hobby.
Do you wear wigs?
That's creepy.
That's
That's
Wearing
that's
wigs
an
would be like
identity.
it would just be like a personality thing, but doing that is creepy. Oh my god. Okay.
All right.
Okay, good energy.
This is great. I love it. All right. But we do have to remember that the majority is an audio medium.
Yeah, true.
And not
Yeah, apologies,
Visual.
That's
listeners.
okay.
You're missing out on what I would say is
They'll
everything.
get some video.
Yeah. Yeah, guys.
And we
if
need
you're
to
listening to
take-
this, refer to our social media. There are photos.
Yeah.
There are videos. And speaking of social media, we could always use the support. The more you like our posts and respond and react and have people follow our page, it boosts the algorithm within that is Instagram and Meta.
Yep.
And it gets us, exposed to more people, which means maybe more followers, which means better guests, more episodes, all that. So,
yep. All right. So here's a question. Since this is called How I Met Your Monster, what route did you guys take in this movie? Are the Sanderson sisters the monsters?
Oh, yeah.
Or is the 20th century the monster to the Sanderson sisters?
Oh.
No, I mean, the Sanderson sisters are still trying to sniff children and steal their life force. So I think that they are still...
Yeah, narratively speaking.
So I think they're still...
They're definitely
I think they're still the monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get their
Well,
comeuppance
in my monster reveals, I put a few honorable mentions for the Sanderson sisters because
Interesting.
they were scared by a lot of stuff in this movie.
But that wasn't... But the 20th century isn't inherently the monster. It's just technology and time that they missed out on.
Oh, I understand.
I feel like,
completely.
Zach, do we want to have a deep talk about your fear of the 21st century?
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. I'm
Probably my fear should be that I don't understand what century you call it.
Yeah, like, is it the before? Does it go one before or one after? I don't know.
Yeah. So
I don't
right
know.
now in the 2000s, we're in the 21st century.
I know. It's always...
Okay.
It's
So the 1900s was the 20th. So you were right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay. Thanks.
I think.
I've always struggled with that. I don't know why.
Well,
And I'll
It's
forget
very,
again.
It's very simple,
pointlessly
but I don't know why.
complicated,
It's
though. It's one of those things where it's like, really? Who signed up?
Well, you
on
know
this?
why? It's because the first century started at 0.
Yeah.
right.
I don't like it.
So, okay, this was my first time watching Hocus Pocus all the way through.
Yeah.
I was shown it probably 5 years ago, but fell asleep about halfway through, to be honest, and never really figured out how it ended.
That's wild.
So I'm glad that I finally saw it for the first time in its entirety. And you two had been watching it since you were kids, right?
No.
No? Okay. Casey, when did you first see it?
It's been so long since I've seen it that I literally only remembered like the party with the song that they sing.
Okay.
Okay, because I think that's just a pretty iconic scene.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, I remembered the part when they're going, remember when you remember, remember when you remember. And those are the only two parts of the movie.
Oh, that's when she's trying to like remember the spell, right?
Yeah. So those
Okay.
are the only two parts of the movie.
Okay.
But I did enjoy it. There was some stuff that I was a little bit... I do think the children thing is very strange. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, totally. And I think it's supposed to be strange. I don't think we're supposed to be like...
I don't think it... I don't think it's supposed to be as strange as I think it is.
I didn't really think too much about her sniffing the kids because that was just like a classic like witch kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
But I did think that Sarah Sanderson being horny for everybody was really weird.
And showing her tits, like singing to the children with fucking tits out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was a
I
little
would almost say
strange.
that's... I agree. I think that's almost more questionable because, with Mary, it's because they eat children too. So she's really just sniffing food. So it's like...
Right. Well, yeah.
But I just think the fact in general that they were looking around for kids the whole time. And remember, like, I was thinking about if it were men. Like...
Yeah. Yeah. What if Alex Garland made Hocus Pocus?
Oh, no.
What if Alex Garland made a Hocus Pocus remake in 2025?
I could see him doing that.
That would be-
With the score
be
from
rough.
Men. Just like that weird, like really kind of
yeah.
trippy, disorienting.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus was a very important movie to me growing up. You know, I'm sure we can all kind of speak to this, but I was a big fan of horror movies, but I was kind of limited in when and where I could watch horror movies and what kind of horror movies I could watch. So movies like Hocus Pocus, The Monster Squad, Goonies, things like that were sort of like that gateway horror that a lot of kids who, you know, like us end up kind of becoming big like horror fans kind of gravitate toward. So it always held like a special place in my heart. always loved the Halloween kind of aesthetic. And I think it just came out at the perfect time. You know, it's like 1993. I think we were all kind of maybe a little younger than the characters in this movie, but generally around that realm of like, we'd be trick-or-treating around that time, or at least starting to.
Yeah.
So I think it's just special for that reason too. So that's why I always wonder if I am kind of biased by nostalgia.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear
It's
your
definitely
guys'
a
thoughts.
vibe, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like watching it last night. I've watched it multiple times a year, but like specifically watching it last night, I was like kind of hyper focused and being hyper aware of these things. I was like, wait, this is well made. It's a tight movie. It moves. There is a story. It is a clear story. The characters are well written. The performances are fantastic. It's high energy. It's fun. It somehow balances like it's okay for kids, but it still kind of puts in enough
fun for gays.
It's fun. It's very fun. The gays love Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
You put Bette Midler in Witch Drag, and it's a guaranteed hit. But
you know who I thought, speaking of the performances, you know who I think is a really good actress who I don't see anymore is
Birch.
Vanessa Shaw.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
or
Thora
Thora
Birch.
Birch. Yeah, that's true.
Thora Birch, yeah, absolutely. But I'm thinking Vanessa Shaw, like she was
she play
big
Allison?
in the 90s, and then she kind of disappeared. Well, I shouldn't say she disappeared. I haven't seen her in something in a while,
exactly.
but that could be
same. The last thing I
could be
remember
doing
her
other
in,
things.
and I'm sure there must have been something else, but it was that movie 40 Days and 40 Nights with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
because she was in Two Lovers with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, was she?
And I think it might have been Gwyneth Paltrow in that as well. She was in that. And I think that's the last thing I saw her in. But anyways.
Yeah. And then Thora Birch. Amazing.
I thought Thora Birch, it was so weird because I forgot that she was like a child in this. Like when I think of Thora Birch, I think of like American Beauty age, you know, like
Ghost World.
late teens.
Casey,
Yeah. What?
you look like Thora Birch right now.
Wow, you do.
Right now?
Well,
I'm
you know
supposed to be Mary Sanderson.
No, I know.
You look like Danny
But you know
Sanderson.
how you were saying that you felt your face looked different when your hair was like
Yeah.
up, whatever? You look like Thora
Yeah,
Birch.
I see that.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
right.
she's got a rounder face.
Yeah.
But she, I was surprised in this movie because she's 8, but she speaks like an adult,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I very much enjoy because, you know, kids
She's
are
a
weird.
talent.
So,
Yeah. No, she was great in this for sure. All right. Well, are you guys ready to head to Salem, Massachusetts
Always.
by way of Los Angeles
Always.
fucking
and
do it.
meet the Sanderson Sisters?
Yeah. Wait, Los Angeles. What's that?
Well, that's where
because
Max
Max is
Dennison
from
came
Los
from.
Angeles.
No, I was going to say LA. Because they give him, and they're like, huh? He's like, LA.
LA?
Tubular.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I'm like that dude. I'm kind of
You
like,
are, you're Jay.
I could play both characters. I could play Sarah Sanderson and Jay.
I should tell listeners that I shaved the word ice the back of my Winifred Sanderson wig, just to kind of cover all the bases.
Don't tease them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we're all playing two characters, and Casey's
Yeah.
playing Mary and Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Little
Yep.
Thora Birch.
Look at us. We just really random. You would think actors would like kind of alternate between the main cast, but we're picking like secondary characters. So we're doing our best.
All right, let's go to Salem.
Alrighty.
Okay, so Danny,
Yes.
this is your pick for our triple feature, Halfway to Halloween. Could you please read the synopsis for Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, the synopsis is a teenage boy named Max and his little sister move to Salem, where he struggles to fit in before awakening a trio of diabolical witches that were executed in the 17th century.
Okay. Yeah. We should note that Max Dennison is a virgin.
Yeah, a proud virgin,
Yeah.
Proud virgin. Yep.
Is he proud?
which is probably appropriate
Well, how...
considering.
What was that dude who was dressed up as a cop and they thought he was a real cop and he like pulls Max aside. He's like, are you a virgin? And the kid's like, yeah. And he's like, really? Like, what the
Dude.
fuck? So weird. Like, why are you surprised?
I remember as a kid, I didn't know what a virgin was. So I was like, what is this very important element to this movie that is going over my head right now? And why is everyone so concerned?
Yeah. Oh, man. But okay, so we are meeting the Sanderson sisters.
Yes.
And we start off with a very classic reveal, I would say, in the very opening credits. My first reveal is the silhouette of the witch flying over the water.
You see, this is where I started with my honorable mentions.
Me too. I had
Yeah.
an honorable mention.
Because we're
my
not quite
God.
meeting her. Even the second
Yeah.
thing, like I'm kind of jumping forward, but I have a follow-up, like a consecutive honorable mention of Sarah running past Thackeray's window.
When she goes by the
Because
window.
it's still just like these glimpses.
Yes.
We haven't quite figured
Yeah.
out who we're looking at. It's kind of implied, but we don't know.
Yeah. My honorable mention moves into that to where he says they conjure.
Mm,
And you can see the
yeah.
smoke coming out of their house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have,
Yeah.
my first
Okay.
official, I'm going to call him Thackeray until he becomes a cat and then he's Binks. I've got Thackeray seeing the sisters through the window.
And every time you say Thackeray, I'm just going to picture you as Mike Tyson saying my name.
Zachary. Zachary.
So when Thackeray sees the sisters through the window, I counted that as like the first reveal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we got first reveal. Thackeray opens the window. He sees the witches huddled over Emily, his sister. And then we get these, very like distinct character intros for the audience to meet each sister.
Okay. Well, I
Gotcha.
just have the Sanderson sisters for each one. I didn't do anything. In each.
Yeah. And I'm totally, I totally agree with you guys that the very first reveal is when Thackeray opens the window and we see them in their house with Emily.
Yeah.
And the other two are honorable mentions at the beginning. Yeah. And speaking of this first reveal with them surrounding Emily, about to steal her life force, she does not seem that upset to be there.
No.
I think she's under. Is she not under
She's just
a
like
trance?
she's like having a good time.
She just hates her
Oh.
life. She's ready to go. 6
She's
years
like-
old.
She's like,
over
fuck
it.
Salem. Fuck the 1600s.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to be a fucking pioneer? Who wants to
Yeah.
fucking wash their clothes in a tub and shit outside in the river?
Yeah.
She's sick
She's
of
like, just take me.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But no, I think it's implied that the song has kind of lulled her
Gotcha.
into a trance state.
Okay. Like they do later
Yeah.
in the movie, bringing all the kids to the. Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense. But Thackeray, like every time, man, god damn it, Mike Tyson pops in my head. But he, kudos to him. He steps up.
But wait, we're skipping
He
over an
steps up.
honorable mention. Guys, Winifred's Spellbook.
Oh yeah, I went back and forth about counting the spell book.
It is
I just
kind of
didn't.
like
And
it's
not-
alive. It is a supernatural
Yeah.
being, so to speak.
Yep,
I think if nothing else, an honorable mention.
I
Sure.
agree.
Okay.
I
Sure.
agree. Let's mark that down as an honorable mention.
Or like dishonorable, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It does have an eyeball.
It does.
And it is bound in human skin.
And it was
The Necronomicon.
the devil
It
made
is.
it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just picture what's the devil doing down in hell? Just like crafting a book.
We'll talk about the devil later. Don't worry about it.
I love the
I've got a
devil
lot to
scene.
say. I have a lot to say about that part.
Carrie Marshall.
Oh my God.
All right. Okay.
Oh, that's Gary Marshall. Because Penny Marshall's in
Yeah.
it. And I didn't put it together. I recognized her,
The
but I
ancestral
didn't
couple of
recognize
Salem,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. So we meet the spell book. And then Thackeray steps up.
Yeah. Got to fight for his sister. But it kind of bites him in the ass.
It
Because
does,
they
because he
found
gets
that.
trapped into
Yep.
a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And his sister dies anyways.
Yep.
It would have been really creepy. Oh my God. What if they stole her life force? They stole Emily's life force, right? And then sidebar here. Do you remember Poltergeist 3?
Yeah.
That movie absolutely terrified me as a
a good
kid.
one.
Still terrifies me to this day. But when Carol Ann is looking in the mirror and then her reflection changes to like an old person. Oh my God. What if like Emily looked like
That would
that
be fun.
after they took her life force? That
Well,
would be cool.
when she's sitting in the chair all hunched over and stuff, her hair is gray.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah.
I wonder if it
yep.
was a rating thing where we can't go too far. Because initially, Mick Garris talked about this on his podcast, which
They hanged people in this movie. I don't think, because
Well,
that's
maybe-
what
but
I
that
was
could have been
thinking.
a
Like,
case of,
holy
like-
shit, dude!
Yeah.
I can't believe that they showed their feet dangling like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No, they do cross
Yeah.
the line quite a bit, which always surprised me. But maybe it was like a case of like this or that, you know, like if you want to keep the PG rating, because it's not G, it's PG, and PG. I mean, Jaws is PG.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's pre PG-13, but still,
Mm-hmm.
still need a parent, the guidance of a parent.
Yeah. The guidance of a
No,
parent.
but Mick Garris talked about this on his podcast Postmortem. The original draft. Well, first of all, the original title of this movie was Disney's Halloween House, and
What?
it was according to producer David Kirshner. It's based off of a story that he used to tell his kids about. It basically, the story he told his kids was this opening was about a kid who gets turned into a cat by these three witches.
Oh, okay.
So then I guess he and Mick Garris kind of build the story off of that. And the movie was originally supposed to be a little more, not adult oriented, but more Monster Squad-y, I guess, a little scarier. So
Okay.
a lot of the ideas in this movie, it makes sense why they're leaning into sort of not kid-friendly territory, but then are kind of watered down in such a jokey way that it feels, you don't really know, like, oh yeah, once you start thinking about it, like, this is pretty intense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder if they had gone that route, if maybe they wanted to be a little bit more grotesque with the sister, because that would have been pretty cool.
That would have been. Yeah.
I know Mick Garris had, and this is purely based off of his when he was talking about it on the podcast. I'm not sure if I wouldn't go so far as to speak on his behalf and say he was disappointed, but you could tell that there was a lot of Disney interference from the first
Gotcha.
idea of this movie to what it ultimately became, for better or worse. But yeah,
Yeah. Good old Mick Garris.
Yeah.
He's just an American treasure.
we love him.
Mm-hmm. So my next reveal, I have Jay and Ice in the cemetery.
I'm way early.
Did you guys count them as
So
monsters?
I counted them
No.
as, first I counted them as an honorable mention. Second, well, okay, see, this is where the reveals get crazy. My next reveal was when the Salem townspeople meet the Sanderson sisters.
Okay, let's hold on a second here. We need to take a minute.
Let's pump the brakes.
Let's pump the brakes on this for just a second. Up until this point, we have, Danny, where are we at on reveals up until the Sanderson sisters are brutally executed in this
Yeah.
PG
So during
Disney movie?
the Triple Massacre, that is the second reveal. Okay, yeah, so the second reveal is kind of what kicks off. That's not necessarily the inciting incident, but it kind of sets up the story where the witches not only are caught
Yeah.
and hanged, but they don't really put a curse on the town. They kind of they cast a spell on themselves that when someone lights the black flame candle, when a virgin lights the black flame candle, they're going to come back from the dead and wreak havoc on the children of Salem.
Yeah. Man, I wonder if the candle had ever been lit before.
I mean, it looks like it has, but that doesn't mean it.
Yeah.
Like they've been through this before.
Yeah, or what if they
No.
lit it and then blew it out? So you hear them coming and then oh, damn it.
But no, I wonder, basically what I'm trying to find out is how much people in Salem have sex.
I see what you're saying.
Oh, back then there was nothing else to fucking do. They were all fucking nothing to do. All fucking stinky because they can't take a proper fucking bath. Ugh.
Oh, Casey, you're still in the 1600s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought we were saying every time someone went to light it, they just happened to not be a virgin.
Yeah, see, I was talking about how many people like when it was a museum, how many people in the museum, how many museum people lit that candle.
Never mind.
They all, if they did, they all had sex because
Nice. Nice.
Cool.
man.
So we've set up the premise of the movie essentially, and we're on to our next honorable mention. It's where Max, who has just moved to Salem from LA, as we've pointed out, has just met the local bullies, Jay and Ernie, aka Ice.
Mm-hmm.
Journey.
Yes.
Journey. Yeah, and Jay reminded me a lot of that guy from Idle Hands.
Which one?
Do you know who I'm talking about? He like works on his truck the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's like,
yes.
that's right. Yeah.
I don't know that actor's name,
I
but
know. Yeah, that's so funny.
he reminded me of him. I was like, is that him when he was younger or something? It wasn't.
That's
But
funny. Yeah, very similar vibe.
Yeah.
When what's funny is Jay seems like the guy who's from LA, not Max seems like he's from Massachusetts.
right, exactly. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Which okay, so before we meet them in that honorable mention, I want to talk about real quick Max's confidence in the classroom when he just stands up in front of everybody in the middle of class and gives Allison his phone number, and he's just like something about Jimi Hendrix or some shit, and he's like, here's my
Jimi
number.
Hendrix
and
shows up. Here's my number. It's like, what are you gonna do?
On a huge piece, it's like on a full piece of paper, and it's just like written.
Yeah,
just, like,
and he
folded
writes
up.
in the top corner.
Yeah, but like the teacher's talking, and he just like stands up and he's like, "What's up, baby?"
She's like, shoot your shot, Max.
Yeah, but you know what's even better?
What?
When she fucking gives it back to him.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
baller move.
Yeah. Yep. And he knows that town. Like what? They've been there like a week, is what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows that town really well. He's got all kinds of shortcuts through the woods, and and his room is very well put together. It looks like he's been living there for years.
It's so true.
It's very funny.
Yeah, he has nothing to be upset about. He can't want to leave when he's nested the way that he already has.
Yeah.
He loves the locals. He's fallen in love with someone. He's completely
He loves her yabos.
He's a contradiction. Yeah, he's down for the yabos. Yeah, and there's until our next reveal, our third reveal, there's a lot of setup in between.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's essentially just kind of, it's Halloween night. Max is taking Danny out trick-or-treating. They meet Allison at her parents' Eyes Wide Shut sex party.
I want to go to that party.
Me too. I want to go to the after party.
Well,
I want to go to that party.
Fucking Max and Danny wanted to go so bad that they just walked in the front door of a stranger's house.
But there is so much of this in this movie. There is so much like, oh, it's Halloween. We can just go inside.
Do whatever we want. Yeah.
There's so much of that.
That's such a good
a
point.
little crazy. And then Max gets super excited about the candy on the table. And I'm like, dude.
That was the Disney executives watching the first cut. They're like, you can't be too horny. Make him excited about something like really innocent, just to kind of buffer it.
Oh, it was funny.
And they talk about Allison's yabos.
Yep.
Yeah. And she like doesn't even care. Like Danny's like, what do you call them, Max? Her yabos? You love her yabos. And she's just like, oh, she's like, Max.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But then they go to the Sanderson house.
Yes. We're back at it. I love this detail that it's like a preserved museum.
That it was a museum for a long
so
time.
clever. What a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
simple,
because
but so
otherwise
clever.
it's like it would never still be there.
No.
Right.
That makes sense. And
So
yeah.
it's one thing that they wrote in properly in this.
That and everything else.
Aside from, people just walking into people's homes. And
Oh yeah.
that was a joke. Okay.
But I love that Max's lighter like gets him anywhere he needs to go.
Yeah.
He finds that lighter and he's just like he like flips it open on his jeans or whatever and he's like found a lighter. And then like later he's like going through and he's just like it's just
it is kind of like his Swiss Army knife. He kind of uses he does like, never put that together. It kind of gets him out of every problem in this movie.
But little Virgin Max lights that candle.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, yeah, he is so proud of his virginity. A lot of times in like movies and stuff, you see like the boys who are like trying to impress the girl and they're like, I'm not a virgin. Yeah, I've had sex all the time. Like she lives in Niagara Falls.
This is like the opposite of Superbad.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this was super bad, they'd be like, all right, well, if you're not a virgin, light the candle. Let's see what happens. Like,
I'd be like, no,
I don't wanna
I've had
light the
sex with
candle.
so many women.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any lighter
It would
fluid
never
in
work.
this lighter. I can't. It's like I can't light it after all. All right, better go.
So yeah, this is where this is a big reveal. This is our third reveal where Max lights the candle and it brings back the famous Sanderson sisters.
Yeah. The third reveal, but maybe the most important.
Yeah. Which like it was strange to me. I mean, it was a cool effect, but like the floor rumbles and there's like all this green light coming from under the floorboards. And I thought they were going to like come
Bust
up from
through
the
the
floor or something. And then they're just like, they just like open the door and they're outside. And I was confused about like why the floor was glowing green. But it was still cool though.
Yeah.
They were
It was
building
fun.
that set as they were budgeting, and they were like, wait. We the portal that is supposed to open from the floor can't afford it.
Yep.
Well, hey, we got a door. Front door.
I haven't come through that. Yeah. But no, that was cool. That was cool. And yeah, Danny kind of has like this cool, it's like she's so smart. I mean, she's 8 and she's like really, she's got a good head on her shoulders. And she's like, yeah, I was the one that brought you guys back. So I'm cool with you, you know, trying to get out of it. And didn't she like yawn? Didn't she like yawn and pretend like, oh, like I've had a long day. Like I'm going to go home or something.
She's
like
probably
that.
my favorite 8-year-old.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great. But she doesn't stand a chance against the witch's appetite. Because even though she says she's not hungry, they're hungry.
Yep.
For children.
And yeah.
But Thackeray, who has now become Binks, he makes himself known.
No, Thack. It's Zachary.
Please don't start calling me Thack.
Oh my God. You should have said that.
He also does the voice for Max in the Goofy movie.
Yes.
Oh, does he?
I couldn't
Yeah,
stop
James,
thinking about it the whole time.
Or Jason
Okay.
Marsden. I always forget
Jason Marsden, yeah.
Jason Marsden, who is not the actor who plays the
Right.
Thackeray. He's just the voice of him when he's a cat. With
Yeah.
hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Fun fact, Jason Marsden was the best friend of Eric Matthews in Boy Meets World in the first 2 or 3 seasons, and his name is Jason Marsden in the show.
Oh, cool. Cool. I didn't know that. Let's see. So they released the Sanderson sisters, and yeah, there's a big fight scene. And this was so cool to me because, like I had said before, this is my first time really watching this movie. And I loved to see that because like I never noticed this before, but like I love to see them being scared by all these things that they're not used to in the 20th century, like the sprinklers.
Well, yeah,
you know,
because he
like,
told them
thinking
it was
like,
death rain.
yeah, and he like could control the weather or whatever, and so they were freaking out.
Well, they're witches, so they don't know what he's capable of necessarily.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right, and I thought, yeah, that was really clever.
These 3 actors, every time they scream, just responding to something, for some reason, it like tickles such a funny bone in me. I laugh so hard. It's because everything is so over the top. These 3 actors sell it so perfectly as the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah.
I know they get credit for it. It's not like this is like some, underappreciated movie. I feel like everyone's obsessed with it. But I think I'd be remiss to kind of overlook or not at least mention the fact again over the other countless times how perfect they are in this movie.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah.
I just love
Have you guys seen part 2?
No.
Yes.
How is part 2, Danny?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. He's seen it. Okay, we'll
Yep.
move on.
He does not want to elaborate.
I did watch it. I've only seen it once, so I can't really compare it. And I've seen Hocus Pocus. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times. It was fine. It was not. I'm glad they got the actors back to play the Sanderson sisters. That was cool.
Yeah.
I definitely did have a moment where I was like, oh, there is no nostalgia. I'm an adult watching a kid's movie. I don't think I can judge this on
I love kids movies.
No, me too.
Even new ones.
Yeah.
But I think Danny, like what Danny's saying is like, since you're not a kid, you kind of have this like, I don't know if it's a bias or whatever, like a different perspective that it's like you may not have if you were a kid seeing it for the first time.
Yeah. Like I hear that conversation a lot with Star Wars fans where maybe, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Maybe some movies are coming out that are objectively not good. I don't know. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But I've heard people say like, people who criticize a lot of the modern Star Wars movies have been sort of like faced with people saying, did you just grow up? Did you just love what you loved? Because not to say Star Wars movies are kids movies, but like that magic maybe isn't there anymore. Right. So you're not associating it with these newer ones because you grew up. Mm-hmm. So to kind of judge it on the same grounds, not saying you can't, but maybe that's where that kind of negative reaction is coming from. I don't know.
Yeah. Parts 1, 2, and 3, though, they were bad. Anyway, let's move on.
Oh, the prequels.
Yeah.
But real quick, I just saw a guy talking about The Matrix on. It's actually he's pretty big on social media. He's the guy who wrote John Dies at the End. Mm-hmm. That movie. I guess it was a novel, and then they made it into a movie. But he was talking about how like if any movie needs to be remade, it's The Matrix because it's got like such a good message or like an important message. Mm-hmm. But like he said, he's like showed it to like his nephews and whatever, and they were all like, "This movie's so dated. It's silly, and like the costumes are bad, and this." But like we know it, like we're like, "Oh, it's the fucking Matrix. It's cool,
amazing."
But he was like, if kids today are thinking that about like this movie, like remake this movie because the message is good, but you need to update it.
My brother actually talks about that. Like my brother has told me before, like, because I'm not usually a fan of when they remake movies, right? There are some that I like. Mm-hmm. There are some that I enjoy. I don't have a problem when they do it. I just don't usually watch them. Yeah. But my brother is like all for it. And he's very like, people are going to forget about movies. You know what I mean? In like 50 years, people will forget about a certain movie. But when it gets remade, then there's a new interest in it. It's a different take on a story. Same thing if things are dated. Like with the new Crow coming out, people are so angry. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I am 10 years ago or something, I was like, fuck remakes.
Yeah, same.
But now, like The Crow, for example, and people are like, oh, if you want to see it, just go watch the original. And you're not honoring his legacy and stuff. Well, like I had an experience years ago, a lot of times they say like, oh, we're bringing in a new audience for these movies. I had an experience with a song cover years ago when I heard The Killers, who I was really into, they covered Dire Straits' Romeo and Juliet. And I absolutely love that song, but I did not know that it was a Dire Straits song. Mm-hmm. And so I loved the song. And then I said, oh, this is a song by Dire Straits. And they were very, we covered the song. And so then I started listening to the original version by Dire Straits. And now I really like Dire Straits. So it's not like the Crow remake shouldn't be like, and I shouldn't say just the Crow remake, but this is what kind of sparked this thought process in my brain. Mm-hmm. Remakes, I am of that mindset now that they can introduce the new generation to the older movies.
Right.
Because if you enjoy the Crow, you're going to go watch the original.
Right. If they enjoy the remake, yeah.
Yeah, or if you didn't really like The Crow, the new one, and someone's like, "Oh, you're interested in it, but you didn't really like that. Go check out the original."
Yeah,
and be like, "Okay." So, yeah, I'm all for remakes these days. Mm-hmm. I love,
except for Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but that's okay.
Well, that's the thing is anything can be done poorly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you can do something well. Remakes have been happening. I mean, the film Hollywood movies are so new. Christopher Nolan even mentioned it in his Oscar speech where he was like, we're just in like the beginning of this. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Kind of like reminding us that this is new. I mean, they remade The Fly as a remake, The
Thing is a remake.
Yeah, you can do a good job on something as long as you respect what what came before it.
Yeah.
You're not replacing
And
it. They're
for example, you
remaking
just said Nightmare on Elm Street, like that remake sucked.
Mhm.
But how much attention did it bring back to the original Nightmare on Elm
Totally.
Street?
Right.
And
Also,
so
something bad might build up an appetite for a better take on it. If it's going to
Right.
be inevitable, if a sequel or a remake is inevitable, you maybe have to trip up a little bit to be like, okay, next time let's learn from our mistakes. Let's really perfect this.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's going to happen. So to hate all of it, just to hate all of it based on like what it's branded as, then maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's on you.
We'll just, we'll this argument can come to a close once Alex Garland remakes Hocus Pocus.
There you go.
Yes. Oh, what a dream.
Okay. Where are we?
There is a lot that happens, I think, between our third reveal, which is the Sanderson sisters returning, and our next honorable mention when the trio meets Billy Butcherson.
Yeah.
The zombie who turns out to not be a monster in the end.
He's a quote unquote monster by definition as like a zombie.
But he's also been terrorized by the Sanderson sisters himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is played by the famous, miraculous
Dougherty Jones.
Dougherty Jones, who you will know as he's played every iconic horror character you could think of. He plays the Pale Man in Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth.
He's basically in all of Guillermo del Toro's movies.
All of them.
that require a
The
slender
amphibian
silhouette.
man from Shape of Water. Yeah, everything. And
He's also, I actually just started the 5th season of What We Do in the Shadows, and he's in that.
Oh, nice.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's fun.
He's like the most famous vampire that exists, basically. He's like the head of the Vampiric Council. and, like, the most-
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool. But correct me if I'm wrong. In Hocus Pocus, his character back in the day was married to Winifred, but was sleeping around with Sarah.
Surprise, surprise, you fucking whore.
I'm sorry.
Look at you, you horny little slut.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sure she got herself into some trouble.
You're
Well,
correct.
I mean, I don't know. So then, did they put a spell on him to kill him?
She
That's
poisoned
a great
him.
point.
She poisoned him. They talk about it.
Oh, I thought you were
Okay.
saying did Sarah put a spell on him to have sex with her?
Oh. I don't think she
Oh,
needs
maybe.
to. She's just the hot one.
Well, because Winifred isn't angry at Sarah, which is interesting. All the blame goes on to Billy.
Right.
Then I would say there's probably no spell involved.
Okay.
Oh, what if there was like an intense family drama about the Sanderson sisters? Like
That's
Oh,
the
man.
Alex Garland
So we need a
movie.
prequel?
back in.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
prequel.
Oh man, we need to get Alex Garland on
I know,
this on
get
this
him on the
Hocus
phone.
Pocus stream.
I know. I tried calling him earlier, but it was the line was busy because he's promoting his new movie Civil War in theaters now.
Yes.
Unless you're listening to this episode when it's not in theaters.
I love when we meet Billy Butcherson, specifically for specifically for the fact that he wakes up from his resting place, right? He comes up like a classic zombie, and then he turns around and he sees his headstone, and then he kind of slumps his shoulders like, oh fuck.
God damn it.
Like I thought I was sleeping, but no, here's my headstone. I'm fucking dead. That was really funny.
You know what's interesting? We don't have to linger too much on this, but he has an interesting death because I'm literally building, this is a theory based on it's based off this. So he has his mouth sewn shut. I wonder because Winifred Sanderson is a very interesting character because all of her kind of, if you really think about like what her goal is, because she's kind of leading the charge. You could say that the sisters are in on it too, but they kind of just follow her.
Mm-hmm.
And her whole thing, she's a very like superficial goal. She just wants to be young again. She wants to be beautiful. That's it, at the expense of literally the most innocent thing you could think of, children. So she seems like someone who maybe doesn't want to be challenged with anything, like whether or not like her intentions are even meaningful at all. So I like to believe that she also like refuses to see her sisters in a negative light because they're kind of an extension of her. So my belief, this is my theory, is that Billy tried to talk to her, to Winifred, saying that maybe what he and I don't know, trying to basically talk himself out of this shit show with like, maybe it just wasn't working out, you know, like you and I like aren't clicking, you know, so she shut him up instead of, because she can't quite face the reality of her delusions.
That's very deep for Hocus Pocus.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, I saw that in the Alex Garland movie. So I can't take all the credit. Yeah, probably a stretch, but no. It's the first time I really thought about the fact that his mouth was sewn shut, and I needed to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this where Binks gets run over by a fucking bus?
Yes. So that leads us into our fourth reveal, which is when the horny bus driver meets the Sanderson sisters.
Okay. Yeah.
And then,
Sarah's like sitting on his lap driving the fucking bus.
Yeah.
She sewed his mouth shut so that he couldn't reveal her secrets even in death.
Oh, did they say that in the movie?
Yeah. They do.
Sorry.
But I like your theory, Danny.
Thank you. It's
good.
You know, when you're not paying attention, your brain just
when you're
goes
thinking about your
places.
own theories, you just totally don't even try to listen.
That's amazing.
But yeah, Binks gets run over. He's so cute.
Yeah. That was pretty fucking morbid. Like they fucking run over the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, pretty dark. Even the coming back to life was dark with like the bones crunching and
Inhaling, filling up.
He's just like, I hate when that happens.
It's like
It's like what?
opposite of a fart. So the gas goes in.
It's a bloat. Yeah.
No, he gets bloated. We're jumping right into our next reveal, you guys.
Oh yeah. They meet their master,
Satan himself.
They meet Satan himself.
Why the fuck does this man invite them in the house? I am just...
So I feel like there's two ways of looking at it.
There's no way to look at it, Danny. These are three fucking strangers that he just invites inside on Halloween.
I mean, he's clearly horny,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They show up at his door. They're like worshiping him, right? I don't know. He's just like, I mean,
So,
I guess
Zach,
that's all I got is that he's horny. I don't
So
know.
if you were horny, Zach, if you were horny and Nina was just chilling in the living room, you're horny. You open the door. There's three strangers there. You gonna invite them in? You say, "Come on in and meet my wife. She's gonna love this."
That's what he does.
I know that. That's why I'm asking if you would do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've also seen that Keanu Reeves movie with the girls
knock.
at the door. Knock, knock.
See, Eli Roth.
And that doesn't end well for him, I don't think.
Yeah, but maybe
No, that's why you shouldn't do that.
Gary and Penny have, well,
Clearly, they don't.
maybe they have an open relationship, but it's just not the right time. You know?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking either he's just very into Halloween. So he's like, oh my God. Like, it's like cosplaying. It's like, oh my God, you're as into this as I am? Come on in. Like, let's like celebrate.
But they are strangers.
That's the fun of
He
it.
does not know these women. No, this is not real. It just boggles my mind.
But maybe it is, like to Zach's point, maybe it is. My other point was maybe it is like a sex thing where these girls
Maybe
show up.
it
Maybe
is.
this guy. All right,
Great.
so I think it's time for our conspiracy theory of the week.
Ooh, Danny hit it.
You're telling me that NASA is going to kill the President of the United States with an earthquake.
Not exactly the kind of thing a Secret Service agent can like just throw himself on top of.
The whole Vietnam War was fought over a bet. Howard Hughes lost to Aristotle Onassis.
This is our third issue this year. Conspiracy theory.
Okay, let's just say maybe Gary Marshall in this movie has a reputation. He throws the best sex parties. Mm-hmm. And every now and then it's on a invitation, basis. So sometimes people show up. It's like, well, clearly you're here because you've heard about it from,
That they didn't think about any of this.
But I think they did.
This was not. There was none of this.
So when they show up and they're like calling him master, all of a sudden I got it. Okay, we've got a dominant, like submissive kind of thing going on here. He invites them in.
And I'm just throwing this out there. He does give them full-size candy bars.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
If you know what I mean.
So he's
a dicks.
Yeah.
Clark bars.
Is that the name for his penis? Clark.
Clark. Y'all want to be Clark?
He pulls down his red spandex and he's like, "This is Clark."
This is Clark.
One ball is named Bar and the other one is named Kent. I appreciate that you thought that was so funny.
I love that. Clark Bar, Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was good.
Sorry.
That was good.
I think his wife is usually in on it, but because he also maybe is a little too excited around Halloween, she's overwhelmed by the energy, and she's like, pick a lane, man. Like, I can do one or the other. We're either celebrating Halloween or we're going to Pound Town. And he obviously leaned into Halloween because it comes but once a year, except for us, because it's halfway to Halloween. And once the ladies showed up, she was like, okay, enough.
She's like, I told you to pick one.
Yeah. We talked
and then
about
she sees him dancing with Sarah Sanderson, and that was the last straw.
Yeah. It's implied that she's jealous in the movie, but more it's just she's just frustrated because
this is
yeah.
And then she gives them more Clark bars.
Yeah.
Like real
Clark
Clark bars?
Like, almost like kind of like to throw it at him to be like, look at me.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to celebrate Halloween?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to celebrate Halloween and kick these ladies out. So what do you think?
Well, because that's
Gary?
what they give Clark bars as like door prizes for their sex parties.
Right.
Yeah. And so because it's molded, molded after his penis.
Oh.
So they're like, here, take all the Clark bars that you want.
I thought it was like an energy bar to like get yourself like.
Well, yeah, but it's still shaped like his dick. They're not sticking it in their butts, Danny.
Why?
Come on, get a grip.
Get a grip. Try it.
That grip is firmly around your Clark bar?
Exactly.
Yeah. So they get their Clark bars to go, and they leave. Yep. Take your Clark bars to go. Just get out of my house.
This has been the stupidest bit ever, and it's all my fault. I'm so sorry.
No, it's great.
But they're not really sure what they're supposed to do with their Clark bars, so they end up eating them.
Yeah.
And then
that's when they kind of realize, like, what was that, Satan?
Next, we get an honorable mention.
Yes. Yeah, so they're back out. They're like, fuck this. Like, this world, this future is not the same as the world that we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that people dress up to kind of mock their culture in so many ways. But that is when we get the honorable mention of the trick-or-treaters dressed up as them. So it's this very meta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they're legends in the Salem community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they know that.
No, I don't think so. I don't know if they do.
Do you know what I mean?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do either.
I've actually been to the park where part of it was filmed. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, cool.
In Salem,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
That's cool. Yeah, you do wonder because Winifred is her goals are so superficial and selfish that if she had maybe known that they were so revered nowadays, even in like an infamous light, maybe she wouldn't be so compelled to. I mean, she might kill a few kids because she needs to like.
No, I think she would have.
But
I think she would have used it to her benefit because it would have been much easier. Because I mean, like, look, it's Halloween and we're dressed as the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah.
Come on, kids, you want some pictures or something like that.
Yeah.
They could have easily lured children.
Yeah, if they paid attention to their surroundings a little more and weren't so narrow-minded,
right?
Their journey throughout this night could have been a lot simpler.
Yes,
it'll get you.
Yep. But then they head to the party at, I don't know what kind of party this is.
The town hall
for the adults. And this is where there's like which kind of threw me. that like, I know it's a kid's movie, and I know Bette Midler is like a singer too as well. And so it's like,
the fact that she sings,
the fact that it like broke into song, and there's like a whole
this
number
part's
with
amazing.
like them on the microphones, and
It's the best part of the movie.
I'm going to push back have your opinion, obviously. But the reason why I think this works is because this is actually a good example of the sisters kind of, they just realized that they are very much in a different time. So now we're kind of seeing them owning it. Like, well, let's lean into it at this point. And so, yes, are there movies, especially a lot of Disney movies, where they break into song? It's like, what prompted this in our reality? Whereas this, it actually works because she's doing a spell. Like, how do you hide a spell? Well, you're at a dance, so do it as a song.
Sarah sings and does a spell too, so it's not like it's the only
that's a good
time
point
that it
too.
happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this part. It's very iconic. Everybody knows this part of the movie.
but like the Mary and Sarah use the microphones. They don't know what the fuck a microphone is, and they're standing at the microphone like they're backup singers. Like they know in the culture what the backup singers do, and they're just like there.
We get a lot of that in this movie. Like later,
when she flies up next to the window and she asks him for his driver's license.
Yes, and says he's resisting arrest and like
and then calls him dude.
Like what?
There are a few. It's funny because you could argue that a lot of this movie takes a lot of so like suspensions of disbelief, I guess. Yeah, because it's about magic. But within that realm, like once you believe that exists and you accept that, there still are moments. Like later, we'll get to it where when they're in the high school, and Max is doing this whole like, "I'm Boris Karloff Jr. and welcome to high school hell." Like, what? Who are you talking to? Are you? What is this performance that you're doing within the context of this movie? It's just so there are moments like that, like the driver's permit. Yeah, it's just you kind of have to accept it, but it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
So that's our sixth reveal. Our sixth official reveal was when they put a spell on the party goers at town hall. Allison, I think it's Allison. Has the idea of how to get rid of the Sanderson sisters, right?
Which is a classic textbook example of killing a witch, historically speaking.
Yes, which I thought was really cool. Like, putting them in the kiln, right? Mm-hmm. It's in the kiln, and burning them alive was a cool like throwback to burning witches at the stake. But one line that I loved, like it was like kind of like a commentary on shit. When like they go up to the school and they're like, "What is this like building, whatever?" And Winifred's like, "It's a prison for children." Yeah, like, yep, that's school in a nutshell. Right
There's something we can agree on, Sanderson Sisters.
Yeah, but how did they know they were in the school?
They can smell them.
That makes sense. I guess that does make sense though. They would smell them.
Oh yeah, because like Mary can like track him because she
can. Remember, she smells his shoes and
she smells his shoes. Yeah,
and she smells scrod. It's a bottom dweller.
What?
Remember?
Oh
like,
yeah.
I smell scrod.
So wait, when do they meet Jay and Ice?
That's after. So our protagonists have their little false victory with the kiln.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they do successfully kill it, but the fact that, the deal is that the witches get to stay alive for this period until the sun comes up.
Because the candle's still burning and
Yeah. So it's then that we see Jay and Ice have kind of exhausted themselves and exhausted their tomfoolery of the evening.
Oh yeah. Ice eats too much candy.
Yeah. I feel
and they would have been fine. The witches did not want to bother with them, but they were calling them names, and they end up getting.
They called them ugly, cages. Right?
Yeah.
It's like Jesus.
Do they call them ugly?
So why do only the ugly ones come out at night?
That's right.
They just stay out late. Yeah. One of the only ugly ones stay out late. Be a little punk, but just don't be mean.
Yeah.
What a jerk. But and then they go back to Max's room, which has like that little staircase up to the
that
lookout.
was my dream.
It's called a widow's peak.
Widow's peak? Yeah. Widows? Is it?
Isn't it?
Okay.
A widow's something. It's where women would sit up and wait for their husbands to come home.
Yeah.
Oh,
My dream scenario is to have a
cool.
bedroom with that, and they have like a little office set up there. Oh my god!
Oh,
360 views.
Yeah,
that'd be
wait,
great.
what is it called? What is it called? I have to figure it out.
I
now.
think it's a widow's peak.
And then they called it, but it's not a widow. But widow's peak is hair.
Yeah.
I only remember this because years ago I wrote a story called Widow's Peak, and it was set in and around that kind of room. But this was years ago. Maybe I was writing about hair by accident.
Widow's walk.
A widow's walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Viewpoint
Okay.
of the return of their seafaring husband. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Widow's walk.
Widow's walk. Yeah, and so Danny has adopted Thackeray Binks as her own. And he's
That is
just like,
so cute when they're sleeping.
he's cool with it. Yeah, that was cute.
Oh my gosh.
Allison is all cuddled up with Max. Max is getting a big old boner.
Big old virgin boner.
Big old virgin boner.
You know, I never thought about this. It's kind of funny. They set up this whole thing of like Binks has kind of resigned himself, or at least accepted in maybe a more positive ways. He accepted the fact that he was going to be a pet cat. And 2 seconds later, Max and Allison are like, let's turn him back.
Yeah.
That's like, fuck with Danny. Like, fuck her. Like, we're going to turn him into a human.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they end up,
Yeah, they don't follow Binks's advice by not opening the book, and so they open the book, and it sends out a signal that they can't see, but Winifred can see. It's like a beacon of where the book is, the spell book. And this actually, when they open the book, oh my god, this fucking hair, Jesus Christ, I'm struggling. It's like.
Listeners, Zach is struggling with his Sarah Sanderson wig, and it's an amusing thing to watch.
All over my face.
That's what she said.
But oh yeah, I did have my cum catchers down here.
All right, let's not be homophobic. That's what he said.
That's what they said.
That's what they
said. Yeah. But yeah, this scared me, dude. When they when leave,
Sarah was in the bed.
Yes.
Me too.
Holy shit. And they go to find Danny.
Yep.
Yeah, they go to find, they're like, oh, we got to protect Danny. And they go and they pull back the covers on the bed, and Sarah's there, and she jumps up. Holy shit.
It scared me too.
It got me when I was a kid. It's so effective now. The pacing and the editing in the scene is fantastic because you know that they're fucked. So it's a great example of like that Hitchcock suspense thing. Like, you know, the bomb is under the table, but you're watching the characters not know that it's about to go off. Mm-hmm. So you have that cutaway of like Max and Allison are flirting, and then you cut to that close up of Winifred's fingernail cutting open the window screen.
That was cool.
It's just those like little details that work so well and make this like one of those great gateway horror movies for kids. Because I think it does, like, this movie does get remembered for like those iconic scenes, like the I put a spell on you. But this stuff is, I think, is what makes it so rewatchable, because it's just well made. It's a good little light horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good.
And that visual of her, like you said, ripping the screen with her nail is just, it's creepy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I always love the scene because when they kidnap Danny, every time, ever since I was little, when Allison is like, Danny, I always want to yell, what? So stupid.
Okay, so the Sanderson sisters have successfully captured Danny and Binks, and they are taking them back to their little house.
Yeah.
Museum. Is this our final reveal? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Technically,
Our final reveal of Sarah Sanderson singing
sexy songs
to the children of the town of Salem.
Yeah, boobies
that
out.
was another creepy visual of all the kids just like zombies walking towards in one direction. That was kind of creepy.
Yeah, because it's not, they're walking to die.
Yeah.
There is no like,
oh god,
There's nothing kind of like spooky about it. It's straight up murder.
And she's got her yabos out and she's just grinding on that mop.
Oh yeah, I do love. We did skip that where they do when they fly out on the improvised brooms.
Oh, the vacuum cleaner?
Classic.
Oh my god,
I love it.
Yeah,
such a clever idea.
Mm-hmm. But again, that goes with like that being an old museum because those things were in there because it was being used at one point. So there was a mop and a vacuum cleaner because people were actually cleaning it at one point.
It works so well.
Yeah, that was really clever. But yeah, she's flying up on her broom and luring these kids to her mop broom. Her
mop broom.
a Nimbus 2000.
It's a mop with bristles.
A Nimbus 2000.
It's the turducken of mops and brooms.
That's right. And so...
Well, this is where we see that Winifred kind of dooms herself.
Yeah, she's an idiot.
Pride.
Yeah.
And arrogance.
She could have had any of those children.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have at least kept her around. And then she could have gone and gotten Danny any other
point. Sarah even points it out. She's like, we'll make more potion. Like, let's just... But it works so well with the character. It's very consistent with who Winifred is. Nothing that she's doing. Everything is so immature. Her goals, like as a witch, it's not even like, oh, I'm a witch because I want. It's just I want to be the most beautiful, the most powerful, and that's it. Mm-hmm. It's not any more complex than that, which actually makes her an interesting villain because you see her kind of fuck herself over inadvertently.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they get to the cemetery. You know, this isn't a reveal, but it is the climax of the movie. They get to the cemetery, and Binks like jumps on her. She drops the potion, and honestly, why didn't Max just let it break on the ground? He caught it purposely.
Yeah, and then instead of smashing it, he drank it.
Well, because he said that if she
to pull the attention directly to him from the sister.
Well, but they wouldn't have been able to do anything if it would have smashed, and then they would have waited 5 minutes and they would have died. But
that's fair.
But he purposely catches it, and she says, "If you dump it out, I'll kill her." Right. So at that point, then he drank it, which whatever. But then he drank it and just chilled there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
One
like,
of my favorite.
Do something.
One of my favorite things when he's like, something about the sunrise. He's like, how do we get the sun to rise? We're going to need a miracle. And it was like, no, you don't
need to wait.
You just need to wait. You just need to stall them. And then the sun will come up on its own, buddy.
It will.
Like, the sun does that.
The sun will rise, as they say.
We need a miracle.
There's literally nothing more certain than the sun rising.
Than the sunrise, yeah. Every day. Every day.
I thought that was funny.
It's funny.
That's so funny.
But yeah, then he drinks it, just hangs out there for a minute, waits for Winifred to drop his sister and grab him instead of running.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, if Danny gets kidnapped one more time in this movie, like it's on her. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, they put her in the circle of salt, and she's just like, I got better things to do.
She's like, let me go help the zombie who is already dead.
Yeah.
They hold on to the vacuum cord, and that was funny because.
Yeah.
And then, and then Winifred, they set it up earlier. It's the Chekhov's gun of floors. And they said that the cemetery is hallowed ground for witches. So before the sun even explodes her, she turns to stone because she steps on stubborn. How are you not paying attention?
Okay. That's why she turned to stone and the other ones just kind of, I missed that a little bit.
Turned into beams of light.
Yeah. And then she blew up because the sun was there. And, so she kind of got like a double.
Yeah.
That was a really bad statue.
Double KO. You know what's funny you said that because I just noticed. Well, in that close-up, when they do it, I agree. It looks kind of rough. But then they have a wider shot, and it looks way more detailed. Not the same
statue?
Yeah, it looks really good, actually, and comparatively.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then one thing, though, at the end when Binks, they're freaking out because, like, Binks is dead because there's no witches to maintain that curse. But then the ghost comes back to kind of like make Danny feel better. And he's like, you freed me, Danny. Did she?
No,
What
but
did she
she's a
do?
kid.
What did Danny
What do
do?
you mean? Oh, I see. What? Yeah.
Well, he was just trying, like you said, he was trying to make her feel better.
Oh,
He's just being nice.
Because the cat's body was dead.
Yeah.
Let's just give every kid a trophy. You know, let's lose and win. I get it. Yeah, that's the culture we're living in.
Well, he's got his whole thing
Biden's
because,
America.
like, you know, Emily was his sister, and she was the same age, and so he kind of like he's got that brotherly thing, and he just was helping her, and the cat like should have like decomposed right there.
I don't support this. I'm gonna die on this hill. Danny doesn't deserve this closure.
Well, then they shouldn't have gone into the devil's house.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So that is Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you guys ever seen the porno version of this movie?
No. What's it called?
But I want to.
But now I want to.
Well, so
Pocus Chocus?
What?
Hocus Chocus, Hocus Pocus. Hocus
Chocus
Pocus.
Pocus.
Hocus. Chocus Pocus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chocus Pocus. It's just Gary and Penny Marshall.
No, you know what? That's a good one, though, since you guys were so set on the fact that he has sex parties.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
What would the name of it be?
This is actually the sex tape that he produced.
It's Gary Marshall's Hocus Pocus.
Chocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Swalloween porno special. That's horrible.
Yeah, it looks like it is a thing.
Is it? What's it called?
Hocus
Pocus.
Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
But they didn't get that great tagline.
Yeah, the Swalloween.
Oh no, maybe that's a. No, maybe that's a. Nope, it's a drag show.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, do you guys want to go over our favorite reveals of Hocus Pocus?
Let's go.
Hocus Pocus?
I like the one where the devil Clark puts his Clark bar. Never mind.
What's going on here?
I don't see anything anywhere.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
My favorite reveal is the party at town hall because I like the song.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's classic. Iconic.
Yeah.
The dad in this movie.
Oh, Daddy. He's in Dumb and Dumber.
He's the bad guy in Dumb and Dumber.
He's hot. Yeah.
And he's really funny too. Like I like how like they're going out to they're making him go trick or treating, and then the mom's like, say cheese or something, and he just like, or no, what does he say? Not cheese. I don't know. He's just very like goofy. He's just
He's
a
dad.
Yeah, he's a very much like a dad. Like
I think he says
tells
like the
dad
witching
jokes
hour
and-
is about to begin.
Yeah, it's very
Daddy.
fun. But okay, the party guests at the town hall is your favorite reveal.
That's a good one.
Okay, Danny, what do you got?
My favorite reveal of this movie is when the trio of sisters comes back after the black flame candle is lit. It's classic.
Okay.
You
It
had
is.
mentioned all of those really fun practical effects and the green lights and the jumping floorboards. I love that stuff. It reminded me of like Beetlejuice, you know, like when they draw the door, the green lights are shooting out. Like that kind of stuff always gets me because I feel like I'm in one of those like Halloween fun houses. And
Sure.
that's what I love about the holiday, you know, little touches.
Yeah, the vibe.
What about you, Zach?
So I personally, I want to go with the honorable mention of Billy Butcherson, just because I laughed out loud when he gets up and like, I've seen that image a lot of him like sitting in the grave.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with that, but I loved when he turned around and saw his headstone and was like disappointed. He was like, oh, fuck.
That's cute.
So, but that is an honorable mention and not a full reveal. So I'm not going to go with that one. I'm going to go with Danny, the same as you, when they light the black flame candle and the sisters come back for the first time.
It's pretty epic.
Because it's pretty cool. Even though they do just like kind of come in the front door. yeah, like everything's pretty cool.
You can almost it's almost a power move too. It's like they just walked in through the front door, you know? Like,
yeah,
damn.
That's true.
But also to Casey's point, everyone's walking in through the front doors, so maybe
It's true.
they were just kind of on theme.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, now it's time for a segment that we like to call The Real Monster.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
You're a monster.
I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me.
Mine's pretty simple, guys. I bet you can guess what it is. It's uninvited guests.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on Halloween.
Dude, when we were kids, like my mom wouldn't even let my friends walk in the house.
No, fuck no.
Like,
That's what I mean.
She would be like, absolutely not. She's like, they will knock on the door and we will come answer the door. You know,
my
what I mean?
mom just was very like, no one's here when I'm not here. Like,
sure,
kinda, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we did it anyway. But she always knew somehow. Somebody stepped foot in the house, even if they were gone an hour before she got home. I bet she could smell.
She's
something.
like, I smell.
Yeah.
My mom was like, Cody Josh was here, wasn't he?
That's funny.
Okay, so uninvited guests, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a monster, but yeah. Danny, do you want to go next or you want me to go next?
Yeah, no, I've got a handful. Not as good as Casey's though. One of the real monsters on my list is people who say, check out the new cross trainers. It's like, what a nerd.
It was 1993.
What the fuck is cross trainers? I don't know. It's not like, check out like the new Jordans. Like that would be cool.
It might have been in 93.
Yeah.
I don't know. The word cross trainer just sounds so nerdy. And I
mean, well, I guess you'd have to wear your cross trainers with your Charlotte Hornets fucking track jacket. Those ones that like went over your head. Remember, everybody had one of those.
That makes more sense.
Everybody, but they were everywhere.
There's too much. Yeah, it doesn't work. I don't understand why these bullies care about that. Why do they know what the cross? I don't know. It doesn't work. For me. Thackeray's dad for kicking a cat.
Oh, that did piss me off.
Not only was it his son, it was still dude, like
it called it a beast.
Yeah, like take it easy. It's a cat. Like
yeah, that was fucked up.
Oh, whoever added this to the thine own tongue to the potion recipe, or like you can't do the spell or the potion until you bite off part of your tongue
and spit it in the thing. Oh, God.
I don't know. Like you're a witch. I assume you have like a jar of tongues. Why does it have to be your own?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was pretty gross. Like they all like lined up and they were like
pretty gross, right?
Yeah.
Like, really gross.
Yeah, imagine
like what
doing
part
that.
of the tongue was it? Must have been the back. But how do you like?
Oh, it hurts just to. Ow!
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I do. And my last one is kind of a general real monster, and it's people who are like skeptics but are very vocal about it in front of people who are passionate about what you're skeptical about. So Max in the opening when we're first introduced to him, and he's so anti-Halloween. And
when he's in Salem, Massachusetts.
In Salem, it's the day it is Halloween. Everyone's excited, and he just like can't just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He's like, give me a break. It's like, okay, you're new here. Like, we wouldn't come over there. And if you had a class on like surfboarding.
No wonder the bullies want your cross trainers.
Yeah. Like, he's a dick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my four.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't rain on our parade, newbie.
Yeah, exactly.
We're having fun.
Fucker.
Okay, I have two. I've got, and this is pretty much on theme for this movie, which is a little creepy, but the dad for kissing a high schooler. When he meets Allison, he takes her hand, and I know it's like innocent and kind of like old fashioned, and he was like this, and he was like, aha, but he like grabs her hand and like he kisses it. I'm like, maybe not, creepy. Maybe just. Yeah,
he should have kissed her on the mouth, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The proper hello in that scenario is a good fucking tongue down the throat of a 16-year-old girl.
Jesus Christ.
Casey's always crossing lines on this
Crossing
podcast.
lines. And my second real monster is boiling lobsters.
Yeah, that also is sad.
Boiling them alive, at least.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think that's just how they do it.
That
like,
is.
all the
Because
time.
I
That's how
know
it's done.
in I've seen it like Gordon Ramsay. I've seen him do it where like they have the special thing where you put the knife through the head and it's very quick and they die instantly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So obviously, if you don't eat meat, it's disturbing regardless. I think if you eat meat, it's disturbing killing animals.
I am man, I am so torn in my head and body about meat eating because
I know.
I do it. I eat meat all the time, every day. But when I think about it, it makes me
sad.
cringe and I just want to stop. But then I don't know. Like
Well, it's kind of like anything where you face the reality when you see how the sausage gets made, so to speak.
I mean, exactly.
I was visiting Cody's family and they hunt sometimes, and
Yeah, but hunting is even a different story.
it is, but they have this like garage area and they were like, Danny, you probably don't want to come in here because they know.
do they have deer hanging upside down?
Deer hanging, and they were talking about like, yeah, we're just skinning it, and like,
Oh,
I get it. That's just how it's done. But when I think it was my fantasy, not my fantasy, like my imagination, like what was going on in my head of what I was picturing was just like them like cutting open this poor animal and like its eyes are just like still open as they're like pulling the skin off of its flesh. And I was like, oh God, I don't want venison.
Yeah. I mean, I only eat chicken, which I don't even really like doing because it makes me feel bad, but I definitely don't eat beef or pork. I would eat venison because it's the most humane. I mean, they're not. My problem with the meat industry is just that we are literally raising these animals to kill them and eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hunt, they still have lived their natural lives out in their natural environment.
Totally.
They don't know what's coming. And then
And more
they're
often than not,
put out of
an
their misery
animal
pretty
in the
quickly.
wild is going to be eaten at some point or another.
Right. And so I don't have like a problem with hunting at all. And that doesn't bother me, but it's just the fact that we raise them to be killed.
No, I'm totally with you. And that is also, I don't think I've gone far. I know I haven't gone far enough as like, someone who eats meat in terms of like making sure I'm going the most humane route. But I have limited myself quite a bit. But yeah, I also try just to eat chicken and fish, but every now and then I throw a little sausage in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I'll see a truck driving down the road with like cattle in it.
Yeah.
And like you lock eyes with the cows and you're just like,
and then you cry.
Oh my God. You cry a little bit. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, what's for dinner? Oh, let's go get a steak. Let's go get a burger. And it's like, it affects me so deeply for like
it's sad.
A few moments.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then it happens again. And I'm like, oh, I got to stop.
Yeah. That's why I just eat horse. That's my
just horse.
I like
Danny just eats glue.
They do that in Italy.
Do they?
Horse and dog.
Oh God. All right. So moving on. Our latest segment, Would You Survive the Sanderson Sisters?
And here we go.
I'm a whore.
You're a whore?
I'm a whore.
Yeah, I don't think I think all of us would survive. We're all whorish.
We're not virgins.
Whorish, non-virgins.
Zach, unfortunately, isn't horny anymore, but...
I get there from time to time. It's not like my 20s and early 30s.
But yeah, we would all live.
Yeah, we'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah, that was easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Would there?
This is the one time in a horror movie where we've had sex and we live because we've had sex.
It's true.
Instead of
is this the most progressive horror movie ever made?
Except in 1993.
Oh,
I don't think any of us had sex yet.
That's a good point. So us. All right. So yeah. Okay. I like that. So in 1993, when the witches did come back, would we stand a chance against them?
But also yes, because they didn't get anybody.
That's fair, but we don't. Okay, so here's the thing. So it's only us three. There is no Max, no Allison, no Danny. Maybe we'll have we have Binks. Why wouldn't Binks be there?
Yeah.
So how old were you in 1993? I was
4.
I was 5.
I was 7.
And I would have just turned 5. So we've got a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
So I was close to Danny's age.
You were the leader.
Yeah.
Come on,
You're our
guys.
leader.
In that case, we're all dying.
Dead. Yeah, I think we're all dead. But yeah, no, because I think even if we did get our hands on some source of fire to even light the candle, let alone where are our parents? Why are we just are they're all either at the Eyes Wide Shut sex party at Allison's,
No,
or
they're at town hall.
party. Yeah. Who's babysitting us? Like, what's happening? Yeah. I think if anyone was gonna sneak past babysitters
At 7 years old, I probably wouldn't even go into that broken down cobweb spider infested museum.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surprised by that, Zach. I feel like because I think I would too, and as someone who likes horror, I could see you.
Oh man, when I was 6 years old, we lived in this brick house that had this giant abandoned building next to it. I got in trouble like every fucking day for going into that building.
Oh man.
Yeah,
because
you have to stay out of there.
I was like, I never liked to get in trouble as a kid.
I didn't either, but my mom didn't.
I was so drawn by. I would love to sneak into things like if there was an if it was something spooky, I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm gonna be scared the whole time, but yeah.
But when you were 5, Danny?
Oh, so
I was 6 when I was doing that.
Okay.
If I was with a group, I think I might be more inclined. 5 maybe is pushing it, but I remember my grandmother used to own this coffee shop in Cape Cod, and there was this house on or adjacent, like connected to the property, and it was the most textbook haunted house, like truly abandoned. Like it was so scary, and we would sometimes sneak in. Mind you, it was during the day. So,
okay.
But we would, despite how scared I was, and I was very scared, we would still,
Yeah.
Man.
I was 11 or 12, and I lived next to a cemetery, and there was an abandoned house in the cemetery. And we
That's
used to go
cool.
into that.
That's awesome. Okay, so Zach, you are the oldest, but I think Casey would be the leader. She's our 4-year-old leader. She's like, come on, guys.
Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, Casey and Danny would survive through Casey's leadership. I would perish.
We would leave Zach's 7-year-old body, his corpse. Just we're like, well, I should probably get home.
Okay, you guys, that's Hocus Pocus. That is Hocus Pocus, and that is our Halfway to Halloween triple feature series.
Hell yeah.
We did it. We tricked, we treated, we didn't get defeated.
No.
That's right.
Except for Zach.
Except for Zach.
Okay, so that was fun. Flatliners, Terrifier, Hocus Pocus. Thank you again to anyone who joined us for our Halloween H2O watch along. That was a lot of fun. You guys.
What?
Our next triple feature needs to be announced.
Yeah, it does.
Now.
Oh my God.
And I'm just going to do it.
I feel like we're going to have a really nice library of movies to choose from.
Ooh, I agree. The catalog, the card catalog. No, I agree because
let's find it with the Dewey Decimal System.
We're going to be the author of our own demise.
Oh, yes. Because our latest triple feature is Writer's Shock.
Wait, don't you mean writer's block?
No, Danny, I mean Writer's Shock. Because we're shocked.
Like they're scared.
Yeah, like they're scared. Our next triple feature all deals with authors and their books.
Scary books.
Our first feature in our Writer's Shock triple feature will be none other than John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness.
Ooh, first time watch for me. Very excited.
We're very excited about this one. It was recommended to us by a frequent listener, Zane. This is our first movie based on a listener recommendation. And so we are very thankful
so exciting.
To Zane for sending in that request for In the Mouth of Madness. I love this movie. I'm super excited to cover it. And so thank you to Zane.
Thanks, Zane.
What are the other two movies we're covering in this triple feature?
Our second will be Mike Flanagan's Hush.
Okay. Okay. I have never seen Hush.
Hush.
I've heard good things. I've heard very good things.
Zach, hush. Hush.
Sorry. I've heard really good things about Hush.
Yeah.
Speak up, Zach. We can't hear you.
Speak up, Thackeray.
Thackeray.
So that's exciting. Danny, what about you? What's your pick for our Writer's Shock triple feature?
My pick for the Writer's Shock triple feature is Ken Russell's Gothic, which is kind of, from what I hear, is kind of a more cerebral retelling of the night that Mary Shelley came up with the concept for Frankenstein, the book.
Okay.
Or as you scholars might say, novel.
And we like Ken Russell on this show.
We do.
Yeah,
we did Lair of the White
Worm.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm actually very Ken Russell's filmography is kind of a blind spot for me. So when you introduced this triple feature, Zach, I saw that this movie existed. Got really excited because I loved Lair of the White Worm, and I was like, I don't even want to know too much about it. Put it on the list.
And I remember the VHS cover in the video store when I was a kid for Gothic, with that like creepy person like sitting on the bed, kind of like a little goblin.
Which I think is based on like a real painting. It's like The Nightmare or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that is very exciting. I am looking forward to that. But thank you again for joining us on our Halfway to Halloween triple feature. Make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can find us on social media at How I Met Your Monster on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, all of those. Where can our listeners find you guys on social media?
I am on Instagram at WolfMotherCasey.
Awesome. Danny?
I am on various social media platforms at my name, Danny Salem. That's DANNYSALEMME. That's 2 M's like the candy, melt in your butt, not in your hands.
Perfect.
Wonderful. And you can find me on social media at Zach Winsick. Danny, what would a Clark bar do in your butt?
Oh. Well, you're dealing with more mass, so the time between insertion and melting is extended between that. And
well, you've also got like the wafers inside.
Yeah, but you don't have the thick candy shell of an M&M.
No, and you have to be careful because if the wafer snaps.
Yeah. Oof. Wait, there's a wafer inside of a Clark bar? I want a Clark bar.
Isn't there?
Good. Yeah, you do.
Never had one.
Yeah, you do. You know what a Clark bar is? It's a dick and one ball.
One ball?
Just one.
Where's the other one?
It's Clark Kent. The other ball is Kent.
Oh, hey. Some people have one ball, and that's okay. We don't ball shame on this podcast.
We don't ball shame.
No.
Or Kent shame.
All right. Well, thank you again for listening, and we will see you next time for Writer's Shock. Now, go meet some monsters.
Happy
Halloween.
Perfect.
Wow.
No notes.
We'll never get that right.
No.